A secluded property home to thousands of exotic snakes, and a crime scene where nothing is as it first appears.
911, what's the address, the emergency?
When a world-renowned snake breeder is found dead, detectives are faced with a disturbing possibility. Could one of his own dangerous animals have been responsible?
Do you know what happened?
No. It had to be a snake. Literally, I don't know where the snake is. Oh my God.
Okay, tell me exactly what you see. What's going on there?
Oh my God. My brother's dead.
I understand you have an anaconda. Where's it at? I know it's difficult right now, but we need to make sure nobody else gets hurt.
But the real danger wasn't slithering across the floor or even kept behind glass. It's someone much closer, the woman who shares his home, his family, and his life.
She kept asking me if I was going to back out or I was going to back out, or I said, no, I'll go with you, that ain't no big deal.
How does a wife, a mother, become the center of a murder case stranger than fiction?
So the results of the polygraph showed that you failed the test.
The answer lies beneath secrets and betrayals that ultimately led to a deadly plot. Welcome to Female Criminals. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Montgomery County, Missouri. That's where we meet this week's female criminal, Lindley Renick. Lindley was born in March of 1988 and is always called Missouri home. Some might think she lives a pretty cool life. She's married to one of the country's most respected breeders of rare and exotic snakes. He sells snakes to buyers all over the world. His name is Ben Renick. Lindley and Ben's story actually began years before they got married. The two first met as teenagers, but it wasn't until around 2011 that they reconnected. The relationship moved quickly. Before long, they were dating and living together. Lindley already had a young son from a previous relationship, and Ben embraced the role of a father figure. In 2014, the couple made it official by getting married. Not long after, they welcomed a child together, becoming a family of 4. As their family grew, so did their ambitions. Ben continues expanding his exotic snake breeding operation, while Lindley helps at the snake breeding facility. By 2017, Ben signs a multi-million-dollar deal to sell some of his rare snakes. That same year, the couple opens a second business, a day spa called Essentia Spa, where Lindley oversaw the day-to-day operations. From the outside looking in, they seemed to have it all. A beautiful family, 2 successful businesses, a promising life together. But we all know by now, appearances can be deceiving. Behind the scenes, there were definitely cracks in their foundation. Think about it, 2 businesses to run, 2 young children to raise, employees to pay, bills and loans adding up. Maintaining that kind of lifestyle requires a lot of money. The Renicks are facing financial pressure, which becomes a source of tension between them. Around the same time, Lindley's eye starts to wander outside of her marriage. We've learned Lindley has been unfaithful to Ben with at least 2 other men. It's unclear if Lindley and Ben can survive the betrayal. Before they ever had a chance to figure it out, tragedy strikes on June 8th, 2017.
911, what's the address, the emergency?
We're listening to a 911 call placed by Lindley Renick. She says something terrible has happened to her husband, Ben.
What happened? Tell me exactly what happened to him.
Oh, God. I just got home with my kids there in the car, and I went to go check on him, and I saw him on the ground.
Okay, do you know what happened to him? Okay, hold on just a second while we get somebody there, okay? Stay on the line with me. Ma'am, how old is he?
30.
30? Okay, and you do not know why there's blood everywhere?
No, I saw him and I ran outside.
Okay, so you have no idea what happened?
No.
Okay, just one moment.
Lindley is frantic. When she came home, she found Ben lying in a pool of his blood. With 911 still on the line, we hear her brother-in-law Sam arrive and alerts dispatch about another dangerous situation that's ongoing.
Do you know what happened?
No. It had to be a snake. Literally, I don't know where the snake is. Oh my God.
Okay, tell me exactly what you see. What's going on there?
Oh my God. My brother's dead.
Okay, so he's not breathing at all?
No, he's cold. He's in blue.
Okay, and it's not obvious what happened? Like you're not sure what happened?
Oh, it's a heavy snake. I don't know. Oh my God, my brother's dead. My brother's dead. Oh my God.
Okay, what is your name, sir?
My name is Sam. Renick. R-E-N-I-C-K. Ben? Oh God. Oh God.
Okay, do you know anything, like how long he's been there? Do you know
Oh, he's gone.
what may have happened?
He got killed by a snake.
By a snake?
He raised this large 500-pound snake. There's no gun.
When first responders arrive, they walk into a crime scene unlike anything they've ever seen.
I'm not scared of snakes, but I'm scared of this one. I know when...
Where was the snake at?
The whole building's full of snakes. It's not a snake. We don't have anything that would do that.
I understand you have an anaconda? Where's it at? I know it's difficult right now, but we need to make sure nobody else gets hurt.
Down in the basement. That snake wouldn't do that. That snake wouldn't do that.
You, Brian?
Yeah.
As you can hear, Lindley's distraught. Deputies, however, have a different concern. Remember, they're under the assumption a potentially dangerous killer snake is still on the loose.
Stairs.
I have no idea.
See stairs? Mm-hmm. You said the anaconda's down there. 500 pounds.
We have the weapons. What
is this place? What is this place? They sell snakes. Harley, you see a snake come out here, you better shoot it.
I got him.
Deputies meet with Lindley's brother-in-law, Sam. Remember, he told dispatch he thought a snake might have been responsible for what happened to Ben. Then he reveals another clue that captures the deputy's attention.
He just sold them all. He just sold every snake in there. Really? $1 million in a snake.
At this point, deputies still don't know exactly what happened to Ben. Sam Renick believes the marks on his brother's body were bite marks from the snake. But when the coroner arrives on scene, they make a surprising discovery. They find a shell casing just a few feet from Ben's body. The marks aren't from a snake, they're from bullets. Now officials are looking at a homicide, and one of the first people they want to interview is Ben's wife, Lindley. Lindley begins to walk the detective through her day, and the moment she found Ben's body.
I walked in the facility and I was just kind of walking around looking for him, and then I walked back in our baby section and I saw him on the ground. There was a lot of blood. So I ran outside and I called Sam, and he couldn't understand what I was saying, so I just told him you need to get to the facility right now. And I got off the phone with him and I called 911. And Sam got there and went inside, and the lady on the phone asked me what had happened to him, and if he was still alive, if he had a pulse. But then when the police officer showed up, and then they told me that he wasn't alive.
Lindley says the last time she saw her husband was around 3:45 that afternoon. She explained earlier in the day a buyer had come by the snake facility because she and Ben were discussing selling their business.
Ben valued everything at 1.9, and then they settled on 1.2. And so he's done an initial $100,000 just as a deposit to kind of let Ben know he was serious. And
Lindley talks about the financial tension between her and Ben, but she also reveals Ben may have had tension with someone else in his family too.
And kind of basically just went to Ben and he was like, you need to give me half of the property. And I was like, no, I'm not going to give you half of the property. So there were a lot of times where they, like, wouldn't say something and then come to Ben and I and be like, hey, you need to cover this since it's in your name. Like, it's going to ruin your credit before it does ours. Like, just little things like that. And so then
after Ben said that he wasn't just going to give them half the property, then they were like, well, we can't afford to live out here, we're going to have to move. And Sam had made a post on Facebook about how they were going to just like sell as much as they could out of the house and they were moving. His wife sent Ben and I a message that was basically just kind of like, you guys are greedy because you won't give us the house and all you care about is money.
Despite the tension that surrounded Ben's personal life and professional life, Lindley says she has no idea who could have done this to him. But could evidence tell a different story?
What we'd like to do is, if you're willing, is to do a gunshot residue swabs on your hands. And it's just all daubers, and we might do that real quick if you're okay with that. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll go get some gloves and we'll get started on that. Do you guys own firearms?
Do what?
Do you guys own firearms?
We talked about getting one just because we're so far out in the middle of nowhere, but they scare me and I have no desire, so.
Investigators swab Lindley for GSR, or gunshot residue. She's free to leave after that. But she returns 11 days later when new evidence comes to light in the investigation.
We have to take every angle we can. So if you were seeing anyone, or if you are, and it was an embarrassment thing to where you didn't think about saying it before, if there is another relationship, we need to know about that. So have you been talking to anyone, or did you have a relationship?
Married.
Okay. How long has that been going on?
Maybe over the past 6 months or so.
So for a while. Okay.
It has to have come across the investigator's mind that maybe the man who Lindley was having an affair with killed Ben. But she seems to have another suspect in mind.
You know, being, I mean, I trust that Jane financially.
I wouldn't necessarily consider it a financial gain, but I mean, Sam now has zero desire to leave the property and is talking about just like keeping the property.
Did you want Sam to leave the property?
Yeah.
Did he know that?
Oh yeah.
Did Ben want Sam to leave?
Yeah.
And was that something that you all decided on your own, or?
It was between Chuck, Ben, and I.
Following this interview, Lindley is free to go once again. Investigators aren't finished. As they dig deeper into every aspect of Ben Renick's life, soon they learn a crucial clue. Ben had a $1 million life insurance policy, and the beneficiary is none other than Lindley. She's interviewed by investigators about a half a dozen times following Ben's murder. On October 5th, 2017, the Missouri State Highway Patrol administers a polygraph. Will she pass the test?
And so the results of the polygraph showed that you failed the test. Every question that I asked you concerning the relevant issue, which is whether you were involved in any way, when you answered no, it showed that you were lying. And what I know is when I asked you that question, did you shoot him, or did you plan to participate in any way, that when you answered no, that was a lie? Okay? So what I need to figure out is whether this was just something that just got out of hand and you didn't mean for it to get to that point, or what the deal was. Because the thing is we have done an investigation. We've looked at everything we can. Sam is not responsible. We've ruled him out. We brought you in here to find out if we can take you off that list, and we can.
Although the polygraph indicates deception on a number of questions, investigators aren't so sure Lindley actually pulled the trigger.
I asked you specifically, did you shoot him? I don't think you were the trigger man. There is a big difference between standing in front of somebody and pulling the trigger and asking someone to do it. That's what I'm saying. People, when they hear things like this, they think of someone standing in front of them shooting someone dead. And that's not what I don't think you're that type of person. I really don't. But I don't think you stood in front of them and shot him. I think you probably talked to somebody about it, and maybe they went and did more than what you wanted them to do. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I can't explain that, but I didn't plan my husband.
We know you did. We know you. I know at some level you talked to someone. You talked to someone, and I've got people. There are investigators talking to other people right now. Okay.
And I hope they find who did it.
Yeah.
Investigators begin to consider another possibility. Maybe Lindley enlisted one of the men she was having an affair with to kill Ben.
The next thing is, when you finally told me that you were having a relationship with Eric Brimmer, the very first thing I said to you after I said, who is it? You said Eric, and I said, who else? Remember?
Yeah.
So what's that? It's a lie. So I had to ask myself, why is she lying about this now? Why is there another lie from Lindsay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So why?
Brandon and I had just met a couple days before that. And
3 days before.
And I mean, in my mind, it was a question that was asking if he would be involved in that. And I had no question that it was this person that I just met. I don't want to drag him into it.
So it's your responsibility to be as forthcoming as you can. It's the fifth time I've talked to you. And there's been deception every single time.
Despite their suspicions, investigators can't prove Lindley is behind her husband's murder. Without evidence to make an arrest, they have no choice but to let her go again. For nearly 3 years, there are no arrests in Ben Renick's murder. That is until January 16th of 2020.
We know what happened. We know. We've talked to a lot of people. We've been working this for a couple of years.
It appears the detective's theory may have been right all along. Just 2 days before this arrest, investigators get a jailhouse tip. A witness claims Lindley had shot Ben and plotted the murder with an old ex-boyfriend. Investigators learned Lindley had a few boyfriends during her marriage with Ben. There was Eric Brimmer, who she began an affair with in 2016. There was Brandon Blackwell, who Lindley later had a child with following Ben's murder. But the ex-boyfriend the tipster is referring to is a former client of Lindley's. His name is Michael Humphrey.
Sure, there's a reason we're here. So if you're willing to talk about it, if you want to start and tell me how you got, tell us how you got involved.
The link came by, she said that she was having some different issues with her significant other. Like bad issues, I guess. She wants me to go with her out there to talk to Ben. Because she said she can't leave, she can't do this, he won't let her, he's gonna take her kids, he's gonna do all this other stuff, you know what I mean?
So she asked you to go out there and kind of be her muscle and say, hey, no.
Make sure it don't get out of hand. I'm not one of, you can't tell just my demeanor, I'm not one to go and attack somebody, I'm not that guy. You guys deal with enough people day in, day out, you gotta be able to tell I'm not aggressive, over the top kind of, that's not me. But I do believe in, there shouldn't be, physical abuse or rape or anything like that going on, you know what I mean?
Is that what she said was going on?
Yeah, that's what she told me.
From the way Michael explains it, Ben's death was all Lindley's idea.
I go out there, and then when we're walking up, she kind of hung back, which I thought was weird. And then we're standing there, he come outside first initially. She tries to hand me a gun, and I kind of, not to say I act like I did, and I said, and I kind of just shoved it back at her like that, like whatever. And then she starts talking to him like nothing's wrong. So we walk up inside the place there or whatever. He, introduces himself, I introduced myself and everything. And then he walks around, there was like an end table towards the back there or something. He walks around in the back there, and I was like looking over at some of their cage things, the little trays that they have with snakes and stuff in them. And then all of a sudden shots rang. I ducked like this and everything. I looked back up. She still got the gun out like this and everything. I turned around and ran to the door. I heard probably another one, maybe two, I don't know. And by the time I'm standing by the car, asking her what the happened, you know what I mean? And she's like, we gotta go. So stayed on the car and we drove off. And then came back in the car. I dropped her off. I told her I didn't want to talk to her again. I don't know what happened. That was really fucked up. You know what I mean? I said, is he alive? And she said, well, I don't know. And then of course, I see on the news what it was 2 days later, a day later, or something like that.
Michael doesn't stop there. He claims the plot to kill Ben began long before the shooting.
She kept asking me if I was going to back out on her, I'm not going to back out on her. I said, no, I'll go with you, that ain't no big deal.
So was the original plan that she was wanting you to take care of that?
She come up there and asked me if I'd do something like that. I told her no.
When she came down here, she asked you.
Yeah. She said, you know what I mean, would you go up there? And I thought they were blowing smoke first, you know what I mean?
Like going up there and shooting?
Yeah. No, ain't gonna happen like that. I said, I ain't gonna do nothing like that for you, man. No way. I didn't think it was gonna be nothing like that.
Okay.
I got blasted with that as a surprise. I'm kind of freaked, and that's what I said. I told her I couldn't talk to her again, didn't need to talk to her. And if you guys have done any following at all, you guys know that to be 100% true. I have no reason to talk to her.
It makes you wonder, if that's really true, why didn't he come forward sooner? Well, investigators aren't done making arrests. That same day, Lindley Renick is finally arrested and charged with first-degree murder. She remains in custody for months following her arrest, but in September of 2020, she's released on house arrest. Meanwhile, Michael Humphrey remains behind bars. Michael's trial is up first, beginning in October of 2021, and the verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. Before he's sentenced, Lindley goes on trial in December of 2021. According to the state's theory, Lindley had been plotting to kill Ben for months. They argue the fatal shooting came only after an earlier attempt on his life failed.
No, she told me that they had tried to feed him pills before.
But who had tried to feed him?
Her friend and her.
Her and Ashley?
Yeah.
Like how did they try to do that?
Tried to grind him up and put him in his shake thing, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How soon? When did they try that, did she say?
Probably, I don't know, man, like I said, it's been so long now, I can't remember exact, but probably within like a couple of weeks or whenever they come to talk to me.
Okay.
So about a week or so later, Michael Humphrey comes up to the spa for a massage and brings the gun with him. And they're working on this plan to kill Ben. So he brings her the gun, and Ashley and Lindley are working on this plan together. And Thursday, June 8th, Lindley and Ben have a date night. She tells him she's not feeling well, and she's supposed to pick up the kids from school. So he sends her a text message, are you still good to pick up the kids from school? She says, no, you're gonna have to go get them. Well, she does this because she knows he's gonna be dead. So Ashley's part in this is Ashley's going to stay at the spa where Lindley leaves her phone, so it can't be traced to Montgomery County. Ashley's going to stay at the spa, and she's going to send messages from Lindley's phone, so it looks like Lindley is still at the spa. And she does that. And on June 8th, Michael Humphrey shows up to the spa. He picks up Lindley. They go to Montgomery County. They show up at the snake facility, and Ben is walking out, taking some trash out or something. Lindley introduces Michael Humphrey and says he's interested in snakes or wants to buy a snake, something along those lines. Introduces Michael Humphrey. Ben goes back to the back of this facility. Lindley follows him and shoots him 8 times. At least 4 of those shots are in the back. She gets in the car with Michael Humphrey. She leaves. They go back to Columbia. So Ashley Shaw calls Michael Humphrey and says, hey, the police are probably going to be giving you a call. Make sure you keep your mouth shut.
But Lindley's defense attorney tells a very different story to the jury.
There is nothing more sad and more tragic than an innocent person being convicted of something they did not do. Lindley Renick did not kill Ben Renick. She did not know that Ben Renick was going to be killed in that early summer day of June 8th. And believe me, she did not want Ben Renick to be killed that day. She's not planning a murder, she's planning a divorce. And so her and Michael Humphrey go out to this facility. Now, Michael Humphrey, behind the scenes, has gotten a new cell phone the day before this happens, and he's talking with another person who's also convicted, who's also being looked at for another homicide, and he's making comments to this other person, things like, what do you do about somebody who's abusing their wife? How do you make it stop? So Michael Humphrey, unbeknownst to Lindley Renick, is making his own plans. So it's June 8th, it's an early summer day, it's clear, sunny, cloudless day. And these two set out in Michael Humphrey's old, I think it's a 1990 Pro, black beater car. And they go from Columbia, Missouri to Montgomery County. And out of the front door emerges Benjamin Renick. And he's carrying a bag of trash. And Michael and Lindley get out of the car, and Lindley is fidgeting, she's nervous, she's scared, and she blurts something out like, "This is Michael Humphrey, he's my friend, and he likes snakes, and would you talk to him?" And then she goes, "Oh, by the way, I'll take the trash," because Lindley is just kind of buying time. Her heart is pounding, her pulse is racing, and Lindley Renick throws the trash away, she comes in, and it's not clear what passes between Michael and Ben, but it's probably not good, because Ben knows Lindley is not being faithful, and Michael knows Ben is abusing her. So what's very plausible is Ben, being Ben, says something like, "Oh, you must be one of Lindley's boyfriends." Michael doesn't like that. "Oh, you must be the person who's abusing Lindley." Something happens. A gun comes out, Lindley walks in, and she's in the corner, wringing her hands, staring at her shoes, sweating, trying to figure out what's going on, and a shot rings out. Lindley runs outside, more shots ring out, and she screams so loudly that a neighbor a half mile away, named Mike Scarlett, hears her scream.
The defense claims Michael killed Ben on his own. The prosecution claims Lindley killed Ben. To prove their case, both sides turn to the witnesses. For the prosecution, there are a few witnesses with crucial testimony, like Ashley Shaw, Lindley's former friend and employee at Essentia Spa.
Why would you help your boss try to kill her husband?
I think I felt sorry for her. It was a surreal situation, so it's kind of hard to explain what I was feeling at the time, but it didn't really seem, when I talk about it now, it obviously seems it was real, and at that time it didn't seem that way.
Did you believe her about this rape allegation?
I did, yes.
Did she make any other allegations about Ben physically, mentally abusing her in any ways?
Yes.
What else did she tell you about Ben?
She said that he was very mentally abusive. They would get in arguments a lot, and he would just really kind of dominate the situation and make her feel terrible or bad about different things.
Did you ever see any signs of physical abuse?
No.
You know, no bruising, busted lips, black eyes?
No, sir.
Why would you actually actively participate trying to murder somebody? Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Do you regret doing that?
Absolutely.
Have you made any bigger mistakes in your life?
This was the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Following Ashley's testimony, the jury also hears from Lindley's co-defendant, Michael Humphrey.
So like I said, I was looking at a whole lot of snakes. And then I heard a shot come out, which inside there was extremely loud, so I kind of ducked a little bit, and I looked down through there, and she was at the end of the corridor, or whatever you want to call it, posed up like this with a gun.
And so you hear one shot and react to that.
Yeah.
And then look down to where they're at.
Right.
And when you look down there, how is Ben positioned if you can see him?
I couldn't see him at that point.
Where he was at?
Yeah, I actually couldn't see him.
So he at least wasn't standing upright.
Right.
Okay. You could see her though?
Right.
And then did you say you heard more shots?
As I turned and went out the door, I thought 2 to 3 more, and then another 1 or 2 after I was outside.
You weren't counting though, were you?
I was not.
But you heard, would it be fair to say you heard several more after that initial shot?
Right.
But you turned and ran out the door?
Correct.
Where did you go?
To my car.
Did you leave?
Not immediately. I pulled the door open, and I'm looking back up there to kind of see what's going on. It was a few seconds. She comes out the door. I'm still standing there. She runs around to the passenger side of the car and starts screaming at me to drive, basically.
Well, if you were innocent, Michael, if you were innocent of this, if you were just an innocent bystander, why didn't you tell the police why didn't you tell Devin Faust that on July of 2017?
I was on probation. And again with the firearm, so what am I gonna do? To hand them, here you go, here's a gun that somebody just shot and probably killed somebody with. I'm on probation. It's registered to me, by the way.
After calling a number of additional witnesses, the prosecution rests their case. Now the trial shifts to the defense. For the first time, the jury hears directly from the person at the center of it all, Lindley Renick.
As you sit here today, do you regret asking Michael Humphrey to come with you when you were going to talk to Ben about a divorce?
Yes.
And why, I know you've already explained it, but I know the jury's wondering, why would you take an ex-boyfriend with you to have this difficult conversation?
I mean, Ben didn't know he was an ex-boyfriend, and it had been so long since I had seen him or we had been together. It wasn't like we still had an emotional relationship or any sort of physical relationship.
He was just a guy that you knew and Ben didn't, that could be there to make sure things didn't get out of hand.
Yes. So Michael was standing right there, and I walked up right behind Michael. I'm sorry. And then Michael turned around, and I saw a gun in his hands, and then I heard shots ring out, and I screamed, and I ran outside. And then I heard more shots go off, and everything just went numb, and I remember staring at the trees, and then Michael running out of the facility and pushing me towards the car and telling me, "We have to go, Lindley, get in the car, we have to go now."
Did you have any idea did you know Michael had a gun?
No.
Did you have any idea he was going to pull out that gun and use it to shoot Ben?
No. I walked into the facility, and I was just walking through, and then I saw Ben laying down in a pile of blood. And then I ran out of the facility. I'm so sorry. And then when I was coming out of the facility, and then I called Sam, and I was trying to tell him something happened with Ben. He couldn't understand me. And so I got off the phone with Sam, and then I called 911.
Why didn't you come clean to the police that night? Why didn't you tell them that you had been there at the facility and Michael Humphrey had shot your husband?
I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to face it. And when I came in after Sam had turned Ben over and said that he was still alive, his face just looked like he had been beaten so badly. And I was just really lost on what actually did happen, because I know I saw a gun, and I know I heard it, but now my husband looks like he's just been beat. And when I asked the officers what happened, they said they didn't know. And I just didn't tell them anything.
Do you regret that?
Yes.
Do you regret lying to them?
Yes.
On cross-examination, prosecutors put Lindley's story to the test. They confront her with her own lies that she's been spewing for years.
Now, if I understand right, this murder happens in your presence, and you become separated from reality. You don't know what's true, you don't know what's fact, whatever, right?
Yes.
And what you've heard is, you haven't seen what happens, but you've heard gunshots in the shed where Michael and your husband are.
Yes.
And you see Michael come out.
Yes.
You don't know if your husband is dead or alive.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
You don't even know if you've been shot.
Correct.
You're worried you might have been shot, correct?
Yes.
And you're worried because you want this jury to believe you don't want him to die.
I mean, I was worried because there were gunshots, but I didn't see what happens.
But deep down in that heart of yours, And in that brain of yours, you know who killed him, correct?
Yes.
And instead of telling the police Michael Humphrey, you tell him Sam Renick.
Yes.
You throw the scent off of Michael Humphrey, correct?
Yes.
You throw the scent off of Michael Humphrey by telling the police you, Ashley, and him, part of this conspiracy, were together just for a stereo. Another effort to throw the scent off of Michael Humphrey.
Yes.
You are a willing participant in killing, or in covering up Michael Humphrey killing Ben Renick, correct?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
And now, those men sitting in the back that were seeking justice, who you lied to about the true killer, you now want these 12 people to believe you, correct?
Yes.
Following days of testimony, both sides have one final chance to argue their case to the jury.
Don't be fooled by what they want you to believe the evidence is. Remember what it actually was. There's another charge in addition to first-degree murder. It's armed criminal action. And what that means is, in Missouri, if you commit a crime and you use a deadly weapon, a gun, you're guilty of the crime and you're guilty of armed criminal action for using the gun. There's an instruction that says, hey, if you found them guilty and one or other used the gun, she's guilty of armed criminal action. Somebody used a gun out there. I submit to you it was Lindley, but even if it was Michael, the evidence proves she's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm asking you, Ms. King is asking you, and the Renick family is asking that you find her guilty of murder in the first degree and armed criminal action.
And people that really want to know what the truth is, they don't do what these police officers did. And you are the only ones that have the power, not me, not anybody else. You are the only ones that have the power to negate what these officers did. There's nobody else in our country, not the President of the United States, cannot undo what these officers did. You are the only ones that can do that. Lindley Renick did not know Ben was going to die that night. She is innocent of murder. She did not know he was going to die that night. She did not kill him. She did not know. She was a very scared, overwhelmed woman that did not know her husband was going to die. And the evidence and the lack of evidence completely proved that beyond a reasonable doubt. But even if you're not sure, the law is you have to find her not guilty if you're not sure. That is the law. Thank you.
The jury deliberates on the case for nearly 12 hours before returning with a verdict.
As to count one, we, the jury, find the defendant, Lindley Renick, guilty of murder in the second degree as submitted in instruction number 9, and that's signed by your foreperson. And verdict as to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Lindley Renick, guilty of armed criminal action as submitted in number 16, and that's signed by your foreperson.
Lindley is staring down the rest of her life in prison. Her sentencing takes place in January of 2022, and there's one person who's adamant she deserves a harsher sentence.
Yes, I'm Samuel Renick. I'm brother of Benjamin Renick. I'm here today to ask for the maximum possible sentence of Lindley Renick, despite the verdict that we feel was far inferior to what it should have been. I once again refer to the evidence, the premeditation, the cover-up of actions before, during, and after my brother was executed. To this day, I truly believe that Lindley Renick was the one that pulled the trigger, unloading 8 bullets into the back of my brother, Benjamin Renick. And I believe that evidence strongly supports that. Lindley covered up her actions for years, and she told countless lies to protect herself and to deceive others about her involvement in this case. After creating an alibi, her and Michael drove his car to our family property to murder Ben so that her car would not be seen. After executing my brother and cleaning up the evidence of her involvement, she immediately proceeded to build a web of lies that touched so many people. She led me directly to my brother's body and then put on a show, an act, a display that will forever haunt me for the rest of my days. She cried over my brother's dead body, yelling why, how, pretending to me that she did not know what she had done to this beautiful young man.
Lindley declines to make a statement during her sentencing. While the state urges the judge for the maximum possible sentence, the defense requests she just serve 10 years. Now the decision rests with the judge.
I don't understand how you're going up there At one minute, you want a divorce and to get Mr. Humphrey mad enough to kill, I don't know, it doesn't matter if he killed. You were the one that put him up to it. You're awful lucky, ma'am. You're gonna get out in your 40s, and my 40s weren't too bad. I just hope you don't kill again. That's it. They recommended a sentence of 13 years on count 1 and 3 years on count 2, as I recall. Okay, now, a lot of people don't understand this, but I just want to make this clear on the record. Missouri law does not allow me to exceed the recommendation of the jury on punishment, okay? I've gotten a bunch of letters going, give her way more than that. I can't do it. You can't do that under Missouri law, okay? So I just want to make that clear. Defendant will please rise. It is the judgment and sentence of this court that you be confined in an institution to be designated by the Department of Corrections of the state of Missouri for a period of 13 years on count 1 and 3 years on count 2. Said sentences to run consecutively unless sooner discharged by due operational law.
Lindley is sentenced to a total of 16 years in prison. Meanwhile, Michael Humphrey is sentenced to life in prison. In November of 2022, Lindley Renick's lawyer files an appeal, but 2 months later, in January of 2023, she voluntarily drops her appeal. She's currently serving her sentence in the Chillicothe Correctional Center in Missouri. Her first parole hearing is scheduled for December of 2034, when she'll be 46 years old. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. I'm Elizabeth Milner, and we'll see you back here next week with another female criminal.